Girls Talk Shirts. Hello, everyone.
Hi, guys.
We are back for another fun-filled episode of Girls Talk Shirts, a podcast.
Yes, I'm excited.
Yeah.
We're here on a day that we haven't usually been recording, so
At a
it is
time
a
we
little.
haven't been.
Yeah, it is a little throwing me off here, but I'm always glad to be here.
Oh, yeah. So today our topic is going to be about being moms and kind of our journey to becoming moms. We both have had different journeys, and so today we're going to kind of dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, I've had a few more journeys than you have so far, but we'll just talk about the first, because that's the most important, like going through it for the very first time, being literally thrown into the deep end of motherhood.
Yeah.
So,
and I think in another episode, we'll talk more about, the things that come after having a baby.
yeah.
Just the emotion, hormone change, all the things that come with that after. We'll kind of dive into that in a different episode, I think. But here we'll just kind of talk about, becoming moms, that whole journey, and just kind of a little bit of different things that went into that. So,
Yeah. So why don't you start us off this week, Savannah?
all right. So I have only had one pregnancy, like we mentioned. And it was a big surprise. I don't like to call her an accident because she's fantastic and I love my tiny human. But
God makes no accidents.
yeah, but she was not planned and not expected, but wouldn't change anything about the timing or anything. It was perfect. But Aaron and I met in February of 2019. And we were very fond of each other very quickly. And in March, on St. Patrick's Day, we found out I was pregnant.
You got lucky that day.
Very, very lucky. It was the weekend I was celebrating my birthday because my birthday is March 19th. So I typically celebrate my birthday around St. Patrick's Day because it's just fun. Everybody's excited and it's just a good time. And so while celebrating my birthday, I realized something was late. And it had dawned on me that weekend. And so Aaron was like, okay, if it doesn't happen tomorrow, we'll go get a test. So we go the next day, which is St. Patrick's Day, to Publix. We buy a pregnancy test. We come home and we take it together. And we took two of them. The one that just has the cross, and it was very positive. So I don't know why we felt the need to take another one.
Well, you never know.
Yeah. So I'm already stressing out, and I take the digital one that says pregnant or not pregnant. And I still have that video on my phone. I recorded it when it turned pregnant, and you can.
No way.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah. You can hear the and I'm like, I don't know why I expected it to say anything different because the first one was so positive. But yeah, so we found out, and Aaron was super excited. He was ready to be a dad long before he met me. And I cried a little bit because...
Wait, so did you celebrate your birthday still?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably a little too much, but yeah, I did celebrate my birthday. And on my birthday, actually, when I went to dinner with my family, like my parents, my aunt, uncle, cousins, all the things, that was actually the night that I told my mom.
Oh.
But at that dinner, we were celebrating my birthday, and I did not have a drink. I was drinking water. And well, let me rewind slightly. So when Aaron and I found out, I did get pretty emotional about it because Aaron and I were still very new in our relationship.
Yes.
And so I was very worried. Aaron was very excited. He's like, we're going to have a baby. He started rubbing my belly, all the things. He was so excited. And So, we waited a few days, obviously, to tell anybody. And I called, I made my appointment. It wasn't going to be until April because you had to be like 8 weeks or whatever for your first appointment. So I did all the things. And then, like I said, my birthday was a few days later. We went to dinner with all of my family. Aaron was not with me. He was at work or whatever. And my cousins noticed I was not drinking. And they all looked at me with these daggers. And they were like, bathroom right now. And yeah. So
it was like, I mean, you were drinking that much then that it was just odd for you to just have water?
It was my birthday. And they're like, why aren't you having a drink on your birthday? And so they just like looked at me from across the table. And they were like,
you couldn't have at least ordered yourself a soda.
No. I didn't even think about it. My mom didn't even catch on to it. She was just like, oh, I thought you were just having water. Because I thought for sure my mom would pick up on that. And I said water for now. And so she was like, oh, she'll probably my mom didn't even realize it. She's like, I don't care. Maybe you just weren't wanting to have a drink. I don't know. And so I went to the bathroom with my cousins and they were like, why aren't you drinking? Are you pregnant? And I was like, I didn't want to tell them because I really wanted to tell, obviously, my mom first, but they weren't going to let it go. And so, fun fact, my cousins did know before my mom. But that just shows how close we are that they could, just know that right away. And they were so excited. My cousins are criers. And so they're crying, all excited, doing all the things. And then we finally go back to the table and nobody, still caught on to the fact that I did not have a drink. We went on with our dinner. And that night when we got home, that's because I was still living with my parents at this point.
Oh, yeah.
And so I, sat my mom down and told her, there's a reason I wasn't drinking tonight. And she's like, oh, I didn't even notice you never got a drink. And I was like, it's because I'm pregnant. And, my mom's very, she's not going to show you if she's sad or, she wants to be supportive in every way. But I'm sure that was a lot for her to take in. And I remember her going into her room and she didn't come out for a little bit. And then she finally came out and she just hugged me and she's like, I love you. If you're happy, I'm happy, all the things. And I'm sure just as a mom, you want the best for your children and you want them to be supported and taken care of. And I think in the back of her head, she was worried, what if things don't work out with you and Aaron, then you're going to be alone. And, I'm sure that was a worry for both mine and Aaron's parents. But, yeah. And then the next person or the next people we had to tell was Aaron's parents. And so we actually told Aaron's parents separately, and I wrote a letter to his mom for him to give her after he told her. And it was just like, I know that this timing is crazy, blah, 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 blah. It was this whole thing. And then he told his dad, and then I told my dad by wearing a shirt that said, surprise, you're going to be a grandpa. And he didn't even see it at first. He's like hugging me and I'm like, did you see my shirt? And he saw it and he just was like, he was so surprised. But he eventually was super excited, obviously. And then after that, we kind of intermittently just kind of told some friends. I was obviously scared of telling people because I was obviously in a new relationship. People knew it was very new. And coming from being somebody who was in the church a lot, being judged for getting pregnant outside of marriage and getting pregnant so early in a relationship, I was very scared of the judgment I was going to receive. But everybody was so just encouraging, and, I felt no judgment from those who were closest to me, that it got to the point where I didn't care what anybody else thought, because Aaron and I were happy, and that's really all that mattered. So, but yeah, that was kind of the beginning times. Overall, my pregnancy was super easy. I didn't get sick at all, which was very nice. The biggest thing that happened with my pregnancy was at our anatomy scan. We did it at 18 weeks instead of 20 weeks for whatever reason. But at that anatomy scan, they were saying her head was not the appropriate size for her gestation age. So they were worried that she had stopped growing, or just that she was behind in growing. So we then had to go to a fetal medicine or fetal whatever, a specialist. And so that was scheduled. We went to that. We were obviously super worried going into it, because we thought, something might be wrong. Come to find out, just because we did the scan a little early, she just hadn't gone through that growth spurt. Because when we went to the fetal med, she was measuring exactly the way she should. So that was like a small little thing that had us concerned, but it came to be nothing. But yeah, super easy pregnancy. I loved my doctor. I loved, being pregnant. So it was nice to go to the doctor and have a good experience there. I was working while I was pregnant. I worked at the hospital, did a lot of walking, and I gave birth at 39 and 4 days, 39 weeks and 4 days. I was actually supposed to be induced the day after I had her, but obviously did not make it to that induction.
She was ready to come.
Yeah. The only reason I was going to be induced was because I wanted my doctor. Yeah. And so that was the day he was on call. That was the day I was going to be able to get him. So that was the day I planned. But she came the day before. And during labor, Aaron had left for work. He works in Riverview, so a good little haul away. And we usually talk on the phone on his way to work. And I was like, my stomach's hurting a little bit. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll call you back whenever I'm done. And didn't think anything of it, but I started getting these really bad pains. And I was like, what the heck is happening? And so I called my friend Brittany, who had now she has 4 kids, but at that point she had 3. And I'm like, she knows all the things. So I FaceTime her. I'm like, Britt, I don't know what's happening, but something's happening. And I FaceTime her, and I'm just swaying back and forth because I'm in so much pain. And she's like, I think you're having contractions. So she she's had me download this contraction counter or whatever.
Yeah.
So I got that open and I started counting them, and they were about a minute each, and they were about 5 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes apart. She's like, yeah, I think you're in labor. And I, for some reason, felt the need to take a shower at that point. So
yes, you want to cleanse yourself.
Yeah. So I take a shower and I wash my hair for some reason.
Well, that was foolish.
And in my head, I'm like, I'll scrunch my hair. I did not have anything to scrunch my hair with. So when I got to the hospital, I was a hot mess. But my in-laws ended up driving over to my house because they were closer. And then my mom shot over to my house. But, she's all the way on the north side. We're all the way on the south side. So it took her a second to get there. But I was just in so much pain. My mom.
And I was right down the street and you did not call me.
I always think about that now. And I'm like, that would have.
You call some friend named Brittany, whoever she is, and I'm literally right down the street.
Well, I think also at that point, we didn't know if you were on baby watch as well. So
well, yeah, but
we didn't know, if that was going to happen at the same time. We didn't know who was going to go first. And so my mom finally gets there, and Aaron's trying to get home from Riverview. And my mom takes me to the hospital. And I remember my mom texted, or Caroline called my mom, because I had texted her, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to the hospital. And Caroline called my mom, and she's like, do I need to come? And my mom's like, oh, wait till we get there. And she's like, I'm coming. And so Caroline comes, and so we get to the hospital. They put me in the room, the triage room, not even the delivery room. And I hear the nurse call somebody, and they're like, she's 6.5. And I was like, I'm sorry. Are you talking about me? I'm 6.5 centimeters? I just got here.
Yeah.
Like, we can slow down. And mind you, the first contraction I felt was at like 6:30 that night. And so in the triage, I'm 6.5 centimeters. They're like, okay, like you need to be admitted, obviously. And so I get to the delivery room, and the best way I can explain this is like an exorcism, because I'm like, I'm grasping onto the bed. Caroline's like telling me I'm like trying to bite my hair. Like I'm all, my hair's all in my face. Like I am not doing well. And so Caroline's like trying to put my hair up in a bun, and they come and check me, and they're like, well, you're about 9 centimeters now, but my water hadn't broke. And so they're like, but so you can still, it took them also, let me tell you, it took them 5 sticks to get an IV.
Why? Because you were moving around so much?
No,
or
because they just
couldn't
kept missing. Ooh. And which is fine. I know some people have bad days with IVs. I'm a nurse. I get that. But good Lord, 5 times. And then the 5th one that they finally got is in the crease of my arm. So I kept bending my arm. The pump kept beeping, all the things. And so Aaron finally gets there. They come and check me. They say I'm 9 centimeters. And they're like, you can still get an epidural if you want. And I'm like, yes, give it to me. And so the nurse goes out to call anesthesia. And in that 2-minute time frame, I just start screaming. And I'm like, I can't, like, I'm pushing this baby out right now. And so Caroline runs into the hallway, gets the nurse in there, and she's like, she's pushing. And the nurse comes back in. Mind you, this is only like a 2-minute time frame.
Yeah.
She checks me again, and she's like, your water's broke and the baby's like coming. And she's like, so you don't get an epidural. Like, we're about to have a baby.
Yeah.
And so I don't remember. I pretty much blacked out for most of it. But I remember everybody, like the doctor and everybody coming in. I remember the doctor telling me, like, you were not supposed to be having a baby yet.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I remember is like just coming to, and everyone's back in the room. My mom, I think at that point, was holding the baby, and Aaron's just like standing next to me, and I couldn't remember anything. But Aaron said it was very fast. He said that I pushed twice, and he cut the cord. They handed her to me, but I don't remember any of it. I don't remember. I wish we would have had somebody in there to maybe like take pictures or something, because I wish we would have had something to show Aaron cutting the cord.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had her at 10:25. My first contraction was at 6:30. So
Dang.
4 hours of the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. I don't know if like the pushing, because I don't recall the pushing being that hard. But maybe that's why I blacked out, is because it was so hard. But I mean, to push twice, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had no epidural. They gave me some kind of like, I don't know if it was laughing gas or what, but it made me so nauseous, and I just ripped off the mask and just threw it away. But yeah, very fast, very adrenaline rushing labor. But yeah, 4 hours we had her. She was super cute. And Yeah, everything went great. No complications, thankfully. We were in the hospital for a couple days, and we got to go home and live our merry lives. And we had 2 weeks off with Aaron being home, and then after that, he went back to work and actually worked 21 days straight because he was mandated overtime. He had already signed up to pick up some overtime, and so that was very hard to go through life having a newborn and all the emotions that come with it, and then to have him being at work so many days, and he works 12 hours, so he was gone most of the day. So that was pretty hard, but we'll probably touch on that in a different episode.
Yeah.
I took 12 weeks off of work, and then I went back and I was working nights. So I would work Monday night, Wednesday night, and Friday night. And Graceland would stay with grandparents while I was at work. And then I would basically just sleep when she slept, which was not super often and like long increments.
Yeah.
So I was pretty much a zombie for a while. But we made it through. And then when she was 3 months old, that's when I started back at school. So that was an adjustment as well. But overall, my motherhood journey, it was abrupt. Did not see it coming. It was not planned, but it was a lot of adjustments that needed to be made because Aaron and I were obviously still learning each other.
Yeah.
And so we were not only learning each other, we were learning how to live together. We were learning how we wanted to raise our child. Thankfully, our goals and morals and values, they align, pretty much perfectly. And so it was a lot of adjustments and learning of each other that had to be done. But we did it, and now we're 4 years in.
I know. Look at you. You made it. I mean, if you've made it this far, you're most likely going to keep on going. So congratulations.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my journey.
It's a short little synopsis of how you became a mother.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, we can get into the more deeper side of things in a different episode. Mm-hmm. But thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go now.
Yeah.
This is Emily. That was Savannah now. This is Emily. My journey is just a little bit different than Savannah. Pretty much right after Anthony and I got married, I was like, I'm ready to enter into motherhood. I'm ready to start that part of my life. So let's go ahead and start trying. So shortly after getting married, we decided, okay, like no more birth control or anything, which I hated being on, but we can talk about that another time as well. We decided to start trying. And so it took us a little over a year to get pregnant. And at this time, I did not know that I had anything like wrong with me that was preventing me from getting pregnant. It wasn't until a little bit later that I really learned that I have something called PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. Again, we can talk about that in a different episode. So it did take us a little over a year to get pregnant. And because of the PCOS, I do have very irregular cycles. So I can go a really, really long time in between my cycles and like I'm not pregnant. It's just my body's like, I'm not ready to shed anything yet. Mm-hmm. And so there would be times like within this year of trying to get pregnant that I was like, this might be it, because I've gone, 60 days without a period. And then, oh no, here's Aunt Flo coming to join us. Mm-hmm. So, yep. Finally I did decide to go to my doctor after we had been trying for a year. I just wanted to go just to make sure that everything was okay. Mm-hmm. I had heard somewhere at one point that like if you had been trying for a year with no success, going to a doctor just to make sure that everything is working the way it should be is like a natural step to do. So that's why I made an appointment with my doctor just to make sure that like I can have children, that like my fertility is good, and that for some reason, we just weren't like hitting the mark every month or whatever. So it was during that visit that my doctor even like kind of explained to me, she didn't go into PCOS. She was trying to, like, she was going to do like all this blood work to like try to confirm that type of diagnosis. But she was really just kind of telling me that I most likely have like what she called anovulatory cycles, meaning that even when I do have a cycle, I'm probably not ovulating during every single cycle. And you can't get pregnant if you don't ovulate. Mm-hmm. So she was trying to do like all of this blood work to try to confirm like her suspicions of PCOS. But one of the things that she did want to do was a pregnancy test, because technically I was a little late. And I tried explaining to her, like, listen, like, this is just how it is. I'm not really late, but go ahead and do, like, if you're already taking blood out of my arm, just, I guess, yeah, just go ahead and test it. And it was like a week later, I get a phone call from like her head nurse saying like, hey, you're pregnant. And I was like, do you have the wrong phone number? Because this is actually my issue. I actually can't. And she was like, no, like, this is you, like your HCG levels are elevated, but we do want you to come back in to do another blood test just to make sure that they have like doubled or whatever. So I go in that same day, and like at this point, I did tell Anthony, like, they think I might be pregnant. We need to go in to do another blood test. So we go that same day, they do it, and I'm like giddy. I'm like, oh my gosh, it has finally happened. And a couple days later, they confirmed, like, your numbers have gone up. You are pregnant. Congratulations. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, finally, like, thank you, Lord. Like, we've been praying with this for a year now, and it is finally our turn. Our number has been called. We get to be pregnant. And we almost immediately, like, started telling everybody, because I was just like, I can't keep this inside. Like, I am so, so excited. And so we do have a little dog. Her name is Buttercup. And so I bought her a little shirt, and I got like this iron-on stuff, and I made like this little thing like for like the top of her shirt that's like on her back to say like, rub my belly and I'll tell you a secret. And you turn her over and it says like, I'm going to be a big sister, which is such a stupid like dog mom or dog parent thing to do. But it was like, I thought it was a cute idea to tell everybody. So that is how we told like my parents and Anthony's parents. And I know we told Anthony's grandma that way as well, because she was really into dogs. And I think with everybody else, we just like said like, I'm pregnant type of thing. And everybody, was happy for us and excited. One of my sister-in-laws was already pregnant at the time, so it was exciting to be able to go through that experience with her. But then a few weeks into the pregnancy is when morning sickness struck me with its evilness and did not let up the entire pregnancy. And all of my pregnancies were the same way. Sick, like right at around 6 weeks with all of them is when morning sickness comes along, and I am just sick the entire time.
You're sick.
The entire time, throwing up multiple times a day, every single day. And but with this first pregnancy, I really thought like with the morning sickness lasting so long, I was like, this is just a fluke, It's just because my body has never gone through this before. It doesn't know what it's doing. Surely any other pregnancy after this won't be the same. And that is a lie. It is. And pregnancy just is not fun for me. I am not like you. I do not enjoy being pregnant. I am so thankful for it. Like literally thank you, God, for these blessings. But this sucks. Going through the process of growing a human is just so hard on my body. And during that very first pregnancy, when I was around 8 weeks, almost 9 weeks, I got appendicitis. And that was really, really tough for me to recover from. I did have to get an appendectomy. And that was just such a horrible experience. The ER doctor that I dealt with was horrible. Actually, the whole thing, like I tried to go and see my actual OBGYN, but her nurse wouldn't let me see her because she was convinced that I was just dehydrated and like kept on telling me to like just go home and sip on some Gatorade. And so I wasn't allowed to see my doctor. And like the pains for the appendicitis started like in the morning, and I did not go to the ER until like nighttime. I don't know, like 6 or 7 o'clock at night. And then I get to the ER doctor, they confirm that it is appendicitis through all these different tests and like a CAT scan or whatever. Is that the one like when you go in a big tube? Mm-hmm. Yeah, CAT scan. And he starts really freaking me out, telling me that nobody at this hospital feels comfortable operating on you because you're pregnant. So we're going to have to airlift you to like Tampa General and blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there like, nobody in this entire hospital is competent enough to operate on me. Like, oh my gosh, like this is so serious. I don't want to lose this baby. You know, I just worked so hard trying to get here, you know? And, but then like a few minutes later, like a doctor came, I cannot remember her name. I'm so sorry. Cause it's been almost 9 years. But she came and she was like, I don't know why he told you that. I am more than capable of, doing this operation on you. Like I am confident that everything will be fine. I will take my time, you know, to not disrupt the baby or anything. Like this will be fine. And she did, like, she was very reassuring. She did calm me down and everything. But yeah, that was very difficult for me to recover from because I was still throwing up all of the time, and throwing up after you've been sliced in 3 different areas of your abdomen or lower abdomen area. It's very painful. And so during that time, I just like stopped eating, which isn't good, 1, for your own body, and then 2, for the body that you're trying to grow inside of you. But yeah, I stopped eating because it was just like, I couldn't handle throwing stuff up anymore. So I just thought, if I stop eating, then I won't have anything to throw up, which is another lie because your body does find things to
acid
expel from your body. Yeah, it was like bile, like nasty stuff. But yeah, so that was just so incredibly painful for me to recover from. And then because I was pregnant and my stomach was slowly growing, my doctor told me like, you're most likely, like, your scar tissue is going to give you problems the rest of your pregnancy because it's not going to be able to fully heal until you're done being pregnant because your body's going to keep growing and it's going to be constantly being stretched. So that was painful. Every so often, like, I would have just like these twinges of pain in my stomach from the scar tissue just being pulled. But then finally my oldest's birthday or due date was supposed to be January 12th, I believe. But I was pretty determined. Like, I just need this pregnancy over with. I am miserable. And so I was like walking as much as I could the last several weeks, doing like squats and whatnot. Like if anybody needed help with anything, I'd be like, I'll get up and do it. Like I don't want to sit down. Like I'm just trying to do stuff. And then so on, I think it was like December 30th is really when my contractions like really started. Maybe even, no, that's a lie. Cause I had contractions for like 3 days. So December 31st minus 3 is 28. So around December 28th is when my contractions slowly started. And then by the 30th, it was, okay, we should probably head to the hospital. They're getting closer together and more consistent. And so we go. And you know what? I'm so sorry. I'm lying through this whole thing. I had a doctor's appointment that day. I was having to get ultrasounds quite a bit at that time in my pregnancy because he was measuring very small for his gestation age. And it also, from ultrasounds and then also the NST things that they make you do to like monitor the baby's heart and stuff, it seemed like maybe there might have been something wrong, like with his heart, like it wasn't beating as fast as it should. And they really thought that there may have been something wrong with my placenta. And like it wasn't getting the blood flow to him the way that it should. So they were keeping a close eye on me for that. So I did have an appointment, I believe on the 30th is when it was. And I was having these contractions. And so like I'm waiting in the waiting room, like standing up like every few minutes to try to like walk through the pain of the contraction. And they finally call me back and they're looking at them, and the ultrasound tech, tells my doctor like what they see in the ultrasound. And I guess because I was already having contractions and because she was just a little bit worried about his size and his heart, she wanted to go ahead and just have me go to the hospital that night. So she's like, okay, come to the hospital at I think it was 7:00. They wanted me there. So I go, and I was already, I think 4 or 5 centimeters. But my contractions, they were getting more painful, but it really wasn't that bad. Mm-hmm. I was able to breathe through them and walk through them, but they had me all really panicked that if I didn't get the epidural right when the anesthesiologist was ready for me, if I tried to wait a little bit too long, then by the time I was ready for it, they may not have been available to come and give me the epidural. Mm-hmm. So right when they told me that the anesthesiologist was available is when I got the epidural. But I definitely, looking back, it's I definitely could have waited a little bit longer. And sometimes I'm like, oh man, I should have let myself naturally be in labor for a little bit longer, because I was fine. I wasn't in so much pain that I desperately needed and wanted the epidural. But I was panicked about not being able to receive it, because that's what they made it out. If you don't get it when it's available, then you might not be able to, Yeah. So I got it right when they were able to give it to me. Anthony stepped out of the room because he couldn't handle it. And, but I did have my best friend Megan there with me, which was great. She had already had 2 kids, so she knew the drill, and she was holding my hands through the whole thing of getting the epidural, which really, don't let anybody scare you about an epidural. It is not bad. Your contractions hurt much worse than the slight pinch of the numbing shot that they give you before they actually give you the epidural. It is so easy. I've done it 3 times. Granted, the second time I got it way too late and it didn't do anything for me, but it really is so easy, so simple, and so great. You're not a wimp for getting an epidural. If you want it, just get it. Mm-hmm. You're doing great.
Oh yeah, I would have gotten one.
Yeah. So got the epidural. Then I don't know, maybe 30-ish minutes later, an hour later, my water broke by itself, and my doctor finally got there, and she was like, I was, trying to rest. I didn't think you were going to be having this baby for another, few hours, but okay, here we go. And I was like, oh, okay. And I also only pushed, 2 or 3 times, and he was there, and it was amazing. I was so happy to not be pregnant anymore, and to finally have this little baby that I had prayed so long for. And to start my motherhood journey. That is what I wanted for my entire life, is to be a mom and a wife. And here I was with this beautiful little 6-pound baby boy. And I mean, he's one of my best friends now. I've got him here in the other room. We got to head to baseball practice. Oh my gosh, here in a few minutes. And after he was born, was great. I was so happy to be in that stay at home mom phase of my life. And I mean, for the first several weeks, he's waking up, in the middle of the night, which, I was totally fine with. I was happy with it all. And really the only issue was at that time, Anthony was studying for the bar. And so he was busy with that while I was busy with the baby. And I didn't think it, honestly, it wasn't that hard for me. I loved every minute of it. Like, yeah, you do your work and I've got my work right here. Like, I'm so happy. I was taking him on walks and doing all this stuff, and I loved it. It was amazing. And I would do it all over again. It would be a lot because pregnancy does suck for me. But yeah, I would do it all over again to get Atticus, Eloise, and Bo. Mm-hmm. I just truly, truly love being a mom. I feel like it is exactly what I was meant to do in life. Like, this is why God put me on this earth, was to be a mom to these kids. And I just love every single minute of it. Even the hard times. Like, I know I'm making it sound like it is so easy. It is not. There are times, especially now that Atticus is 8 years old, there are plenty of times when we argue about, him doing his homework or practicing his violin or whatever different thing, or even arguing with Eloise and Bo. Eloise has become, this past week, she has really entered into her diva era of life.
It's dance class. It's making them both divas.
It really is. Dance class has turned her into quite the drama queen lately. But yeah, so there definitely are times when I get to my wit's end, but I honestly would not change it for the world. I absolutely love waking up every day and playing with these kids, helping them grow into decent human beings. Hopefully, that is my prayer, is that they are being raised in a way that is glorifying the Lord, and that they will be good people to others and be lights in their own life. And I absolutely love it.
Yeah, you're killing it. You're the best mom I know.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So yeah, that's kind of that. I guess now we'll talk about some shirts.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to kind of talk about a little shirt company that's a little small business around us that I have gotten many shirts from now. But it's called Cap and Cole. The owner is a girl named Ashlyn, who we actually used to go to church with. She is precious. She has 2 babies of her own. And she makes these shirts. And you can get whatever design you want. She presses them. Now she does like trucker hats, all the things. But I actually have a few shirts from her. The ones that I wear very frequently are my Cool Moms Club shirt. And then I also just have one that says Mama. And then the most recent one I got from her was when I went to the Jason Aldean concert. She made me a shirt for that as well. But she does all these little pop-ups that she does the shirt pressing. She has an Instagram. You just reach out to her. You find a design. She makes it for you. She puts them on comfort color t-shirts, which are the superior t-shirt. But yeah, it's a great little small business. If you guys want to head over to her Instagram, it's at Cap and Cole, and reach out to her and get you a shirt made. But they're super cute. Like I said, the quality of the shirts are fantastic.
I love all of her designs. The designs that she has going right now, specifically for the Super Bowl, are so cute. All of like the little Taylor Swift stuff. Yeah. And I hope Taylor's boyfriend's team wins. Yeah. And whatnot, are so cute.
Yeah. And it's so cool to also just be able to support her small business. She is a nurse like myself. And so I love that she gets to do this little side business that makes her so happy, and I like supporting it, and the shirts are cute. And so yeah, I have a few shirts from there, and she posts new designs. She also has a website now that you can order from, and she has like Valentine's Day ones. She has, like you mentioned, the Super Bowl ones. Over the holidays, she had some really cute Christmas designs. There was specifically a Disney one. It was like a gingerbread house, but it was like the castle. And it was a gingerbread.
That is so
and
cute.
It was so stinking cute. So yeah, that's going to be our shirts that we talk about.
Yeah. It's not only does she have shirts and so many different designs for shirts, but we love supporting small businesses and a fellow mom and a fellow nurse and everything. And so yeah, go and look at her Instagram or her website. Again, it is at Cap and Cole. We will make sure to try to tag her in like our description, so you guys can find it easily there.
Yeah, we'll tag her on Instagram too, and you can follow her. And another little plug there. We do have an Instagram for this podcast. It is Girls Talk Shirts Pod. Go and give that a follow. We always post when we're dropping new episodes and just little things here and there. So we'll be sure to tag Cap and Cole over there as well. And it'll take you straight to her Instagram. So, yeah, I think that's all. We talked again for
a very long time today. Dang it, Savannah. We were doing so good the first 2 episodes, and now we've really got to rein it in. But I mean, sometimes there is just a little bit too much to talk about. So,
yep. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. We will talk to you guys next week. And
yeah.